everyone. This is Stephen Balch, an instructor for Microeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of feedback on the chapters 9 and 10 activities and also the midterm exam that we had last week. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for chapters 11 and 12 later this week. Okay. So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 9 and 10 activities early last week. Hopefully you've already gone in and looked at your grades for those. If you haven't, go ahead and do that as soon as possible and let me know if you have any questions. Most of you did very well on those activities, so like I always tell you, I really appreciate the time and effort that you're putting in, and so keep up the good work on that. Most of you also did well on the midterm exam. I did open up the midterm exam for review purposes, and it'll remain open for review through the rest of the semester, so you can use that in addition to your chapter test to study for the final exam. All right. Also, it'll allow you to kind of look at the questions that you missed on the midterm exam and study those concepts that you missed on the midterm. All right. So most of you did well on those activities. So like I said, look at your grades for those activities and read the grading comments and just let me know if you have any questions at all. All right. All right. So that brings us to what we've got coming up due for our next set of chapter activities. So if we go to the activities page in my Ozarka, right now we are on the very beginning portion of week 9 of the semester. And you'll notice we've got work due the last day of this week, which is Saturday, March 22nd. All right, which is that weekend right before spring break. So you've got the chapters 11 and 12 assignment, test, and discussion all due by Saturday, March 22nd. If you don't want to have to do work on this weekend for this class, then it would be a good idea to go ahead and be working on those activities this week so that you have your weekend free if you want it. Okay? Just be working on those. Remember all the resources that you have available. You have, of course, your textbook. You've got the PowerPoint slides that I've linked on the chapters 11 and 12 assignment page. And then, of course, you've got the videos on the assignment page as well. All right, just make sure you're using all those resources. And then very briefly here, let me kind of tell you what we're going to be covering in chapters 11 and 12. Starting with chapter 11, this is really the first chapter where we're kind of transitioning from the product market into the other part of the overall economy, which is the resource market. Okay. So we're going to be looking in chapter 11 at just kind of what resource markets are, the supply and demand for resources. There's something, a term or a couple of terms that are used extensively in the resource markets when we're talking about resources, and those are derived demand, which is demand for resources that is derived from the demand for the products that are that those resources are used to produce. So you'll learn about derived demand. You'll also learn, and we've already talked about this before, but you'll also kind of revisit the terms like opportunity cost and economic rent as they pertain to the resource market. And then you'll also learn about marginal revenue product, marginal resource cost, and then how those two things together create the resource prices. And also those two things determine how firms choose how much to produce and how many resources to employ to actually maximize their profit. So you'll learn about that as well. And then finally, at the end of chapter 11, we will learn about some of the variables that can change resource demand. There are various things that can create changes in demand for resources like labor and capital and so forth. Okay. Now, once we've learned the basics of the resource markets in Chapter 11, in Chapter 12, we're going to look at one of the main categories in the resource market, which is labor markets. So labor markets, labor represents a very critical resource in the production of goods and services. And so we're going to look at labor markets in Chapter 12. You'll learn about some things like the things that affect the supply of labor, which are things like the substitution effect of a wage increase, the income effect of a wage increase, the non-wage determinants of labor supply. You'll also learn about the things that determine wage rates. And then towards the end of the Chapter 12, you're going to learn about labor unions, types of unions, and how labor unions increase wages. All right? So that's Chapters 11 and 12. So be working on those activities this week. Don't wait until Saturday. Even though they're due Saturday, you don't have to wait till Saturday to get started. Go ahead and be working on them this week and give yourself plenty of time. Also, that gives you plenty of time to ask me questions if you have any questions as you're working through those activities. All right. One final thing is, and I've already sent you an email about this last week, but I did post midterm grades. I believe it was Friday of last week. So if you haven't already looked at your midterm grade, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. It shouldn't be a surprise to you. It should be what you expected. But if there is some question about it, then just let me know, and I'll be glad to answer your question. That's really all I have for today. So enjoy the rest of this week and enjoy your spring break next week. And I will talk to you sometime after spring break. Thank you.